Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and today we have to talk about something because I am seeing posts that are driving me a little bit crazy. What we're going to talk about is our legislative body, Congress, and why it is the way it is. Because apparently, some people feel that the Senate, with its uh, because it's allowing small states with fewer people the same representation in the Senate, is unfair. Okay, so let's talk about this. When the United States first decided to declare independence, when it tried to form its first governing body, its first documentation of who it was not the U.S. Constitution. It was Articles of Confederation. This document proved weak because many states did not want to bow to one single power. They were afraid of it being just like being ruled over by a king. In fact, we would not have any recognized presidents until we adopted the Constitution. We had presidents before they were designated at the Constitution, or at the not the constitutional conventions. I can't remember the name of the conventions, but it's when the leaders met up and they would designate, this is the head of the government. This person is elected the constitutional, or the convention president. I guess would be the closest to an actual president we had. But my what I'm getting to is, under the Articles of Confederation, we had one legislative body. It was not bicameral as our current Congress is. It was just one solid body. One house. But there were problems. And what happened is, they feared, with many of the founding fathers feared, that with the single legislative body, there was too much of a chance at tyranny. They feared it under a strong central government and so gave a lot of power to the states. But after seeing a single legislative body, they feared it could be too tyrannical. And so what we had presented was known as the Virginia plan. It was a plan presented by um, the Virginia delegates, which set a lot of the ideas for our Constitution, the modern Constitution. Now, it also set up a separation of powers, and it set up a separation of two houses. You know, and in that plan, they said, yes, one house will represent the states, so that no state with a larger population can overpower the smaller states. They would have equal and fair representation. The other house is the one that focuses on population. So there were other plans known as the New Jersey Plan and the Connecticut Compromise, but the Virginia Plan became a huge foundation on what they wanted. The Connecticut Compromise, though, ultimately was what they settled on, which combines a middle ground of the Virginia Plan and the New Jersey Plan. But yeah, we have the Senate so that more populous states can't overpower less populous states. It's there for a reason. It's to set the checks and balances in so that a state like California won't overpower a state like Wyoming. They do it in the House, but that's because the House is the House of Representatives is based on population, while the Senate is set to have 2 representatives of each state. That means in the Senate, every state has equal and fair representation, because in the Senate, that's not going to happen. And that would basically leave, if you just left it to population, states like California, Texas, New York, and Florida would make our laws. The rest of the states would be at the mercy of what those states thought were the right idea. I mean, honestly. And that's not the way this nation should work. It baffles me why why there are suggestions now to get rid of the Senate. Some people are saying that, well, the Senate makes it more so that the Republicans have a foothold. Listen to yourselves. You're so partisan. You don't care about the fact that it's not about for the parties. It's about the smaller states having just as much of a share as the bigger states. What you're wanting to do is essentially the equivalent to taking away voting rights to us, except as a people, it would be states. Well, I mean, let's compare as the people of those states. You would want to take what you're suggesting would be taking the voting rights of, let's say, Delaware and the people of Delaware away, just because they're not big enough of a population. That is wrong. The whole point is so both houses can serve a check and balance upon each other. Look, I don't like the Republicans either, but I am definitely not for rewriting our Constitution, because it actually works. There's other things that need to be fixed. Like, number one, let's reset in the fairness doctrine, the one that was put in by Truman that said news channels should tell the truth to the best of their ability. But not only put it in place, give it teeth, the ability to fine if they lie and do not say, yes, we lied. Because Reagan's FCC removed. They spent most of the Reagan era pulling apart the fairness doctrine in court. Let's reset the fairness doctrine and give it teeth. Because clearly it's created a very bad news cycle. Number two, let's fix the FEC. I think it's right, FEC, Federal Election Commission. Because honestly, a lot of these parties, only reason we see Democrat and Republican on stage in the first place is because other parties are required to get 15% of the vote to even get on stage. 15%. And you may think, well, that's not that big of a number. I think, let's see, yeah, last election in 2016, Jill Stein barely got 2%, and the Libertarian candidate got 3-point-some%, almost 4%. The only candidate we've had in the last 40 years who isn't Democrat or Republican to even get on the debate stage is Ross Perot. So yes, we need to drop that 15% down to about 1 or 2%. They claim, oh, if you make it too low, everybody will be on the stage. Getting to 2 or 3% has proven difficult, and people are getting sick of the back and forth between Republican and Democrat. Lower that amount. And number 3, we have to fix donations. We shouldn't have dark money coming in. Corporations shouldn't be able to, and corporation heads shouldn't be able to basically donate, say, oh, this is the company's donation. Now I'm going to donate. Here's your donation. And we're going to donate through PACs. But the fact is, the Senate and the House work. It's just other things are broken that we need to fix first. So please stop this ridiculous notion that we need to get rid of the House. It's all about giving, that particular body is all about giving the states an equal footing. You know, equality. Because it's, like I said, it's essentially taking the votes away from the people of Delaware, from the people of Wyoming, from the people of South Dakota, from the people of Connecticut, just because they're not as big as California and Texas, not as big as Florida and New York. So no, we do not need to pull the Senate apart and redo our whole Constitution. We have other things we need to fix, and there is a whole number of them. But the Senate is not one. You know, look into some of our history. Read, I forget the name of the papers, written by John J. Madison. I even forget the other author. Federalist Papers. That was the name of them. You know, our founding fathers put a lot of thought into our nation. Don't assume they didn't. They put a lot of thought into it. They even recognized mistakes they made with the Articles of Confederation because we weren't able to do a lot of what we needed under the Articles, like pay for the Revolutionary War and such. So that's why the Constitution was written, and it was to give some powers to the central government so it could do some things on which it could do over the states. But there was also a lot given to the states, so it wouldn't be a complete tyrannical situation. Like I said, the founding fathers weren't perfect, but they knew a lot of what they were doing. They realized wrongs of what they had done before. You know, they went over several meetings. This was not just written on a napkin in a bar somewhere. Anyway, as always, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. Please. As always, I'll see you in the next video. But until then, later.